What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about New York Comic Con, the best news stories that have come out, the biggest announcements, I'll say. There wasn't a lot that has kind of come out so far. It's Saturday night. I've been kind of waiting, like, hey, is anything super exciting going to come out? We got the new Dragon Ball anime, but here at Two Brothers Comics, we focus on comic book stories, right? It's Comic Con. Maybe we got some cool comic book stories or announcements. Let's see. We'll dive right into it with DC Publishing, an alternate faux simile version of A Death in the Family. Interesting, right? So if you don't know what A Death in the Family was, it was a classic tale. Okay, I genuinely liked the way it ended, but basically what it was, DC allowed fans to vote years ago, decades ago. Should we kill him? Should we not? Should Robin live? Should he die? And by like 72 votes, I believe, Jason Todd died. Now, I think it went down great. We ended up with like the Red Hood, that whole kind of scenario. But nevertheless, anywho's, we'll go with that one. We're getting the faux simile. What would have happened had Jason Todd not been ruthlessly murdered, right? What would have happened? So, 1988 is when it took place. Here's a little bit about it was. Jim Starlin, Jim Aparato, Mike DiCarlo, Adrian Roy, and John Costanza. Now, those were the creators, but the Batman 428 alternate ending. Let's see what's going to happen. What would have happened, right? And I think it's pretty interesting here. I'm not going to lie. Something I've not really thought about. I quite frankly enjoyed it, the way it kind of happened, like I said. But I think it's kind of neat. But I also think that maybe DC Comics is stretching a little bit, right? And I believe, I just actually found out, because I didn't know, reading the article, it's already been out there. So, that's intriguing. Kind of seems now like DC's stretching a little bit. Like, hey, what have we not thrown out there to sell lately to get folks hyped? Because their comic books aren't really getting people hyped. Boom. Let's throw out a faux simile. I mean, I'm intrigued. So we'll see what happens. Next, this is what's really interesting. We have had two separate kind of new entities kind of jumping out, right? So here, Rick Remenders has signed 12 A-list creators to exclusives, and I believe they're going to be under the Giant Generator title here. Pretty interesting. So you're talking about Daniel Acuna, Andre Lima, I can't pronounce it, I apologize, I'll destroy it, Paul Azacete, Bengal, Roland Boshi, Max Fuemra, Mike Hawthorne, J.G. Jones, Francesco Mobili, Brett Parson, Yannick Paquette, and Greg Tocchini with Giant Generator. And again, Image Comics, man, it's exploding. And this isn't the only spot where you're seeing big name talents moving on to independent owned comic books. We're seeing that as a trend. A lot of big names are going more independent and doing really well with it. And it should be really terrifying for like Marvel and DC when you're having these big names, kind of old classic, moving on over. Now, the new one's coming out. The first one's announced this year, I guess. We'll see. And I actually went and checked out their website, Giant Generator's website, and I don't think anything's been updated on there since 2022. So we'll see what happens. But basically, what was announced these past couple of days at their panel was Grommets by Rick Remender, Brian Posehn and Brett Parson, Napalm Lullaby by Rick Remender and Bengal, Dust to Dust by J.G. Jones and Phil Brom. And if we scroll down, you can kind of see a bit of a preview here, a little bit of some of them, some of the covers and things like that. Tell you what, let's go back over to this one. So here we go, Napalm Baby. Interesting. I don't know if it's, I'm sorry, Napalm Lullaby, not Baby. What is wrong with me? But I don't know. It doesn't grab me by, I don't know. It doesn't excite me. It's not like, ooh. Like looking at this, maybe it'll be super good. We'll see. And then Grommets, I think there's definitely target market for it. I guess I'm just not it, right? So this kind of thing just isn't my thing. But hey, that's actually a pretty neat cover. And then let's see. Keep scrolling some of the previews. I know I'm going a little bit quick. So there you go. There's a little bit of previews there. But what I am really excited about, okay? This right here, Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, Brian Hitch, Francis Manapul, I believe, Jason Faybook, Gary Frank, Brian Hitch, Jeff Johns, Lamont Maggie, Francis Manapul, Brad Meltzer, Peter J. Tomasi, Maytel Shute will all become exclusive Ghost Machine creators. Wow. So this is pretty exciting, right? I know some people have issues with like Jeff Johns, things like that. What I will tell you is Jason Faybock is one of the greatest artists of all time, modern artist for sure. I absolutely love what Gary Frank and I believe it was Jeff Johns did on Geiger, right? So it's going to be interesting, right? So it's like it looks to be like a culmination of some of these other IPs that they've kind of been putting out. But Geiger, if you have not read Geiger, Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, that's what I thought. Phenomenal. I genuinely loved it. Nothing about it was not great. Let's see what these are here. There we go. So Rook Exodus, Jeff Johns, Jason Faybook. Oh, that looks good. I'm sold. This is me. I love post-apocalyptic stuff. Junkyard Joe, that doesn't interest me. Red Coat Special. Why does that look like Charlie Hunn for like a second? That's what kind of popped into my head. Ghost Machine, introducing Rook. Not going to lie, I'm pretty into this right now. I like that. So super pumped to see that. Very intrigued to see where it goes. I love the character designs. But again, post-apocalyptic stuff is my jam. And not like the weird zombie stuff, not that kind of thing, but I don't know, like what would we actually do if the world really ended? In any form, shape, or fashion, I'm into it, whether it's like space. Again, zombies, not so much. Meteors, like Silo, a great it's actually Wool, the Wool series back there. It's a phenomenal novel. Those kinds of things, like, get me excited. And then next, we have Tom Hardy launching a new comic book with Scott Snyder. Does this give you like the Keanu Reeves vibes? And this isn't the only creator-owned one. I don't even have it pulled up. Cuckoo, Kachu, I forget the rapper's name. He's teaming up with Ryan Higgins, I believe is his name, doing a comic book. So there's definitely a trend to, hey, let's get a celebrity, get one of the top writers, make a comic book, make some IP. Berserker didn't turn out the greatest. I mean, it started off good. Honestly, like it lost my attention really quickly. But maybe this is, going to be good. Arcbound. I don't know a bunch about it. I haven't really dug much into it yet, but it's going to be 12 issues. There we go. And it's, Tom Hardy, Scott Snyder. And I wonder how much it's actually going to be Tom and Scott. Or if it's just going to be Scott. It's going to be like Tom saying, hey, boom, here's what I want to do. You make it happen. I'll sign off on it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know much about, Tom Hardy's background with comic books. Is he really great? Is he like really been into it? Not. I don't know, man. But we'll see. I'll give it a shot. I'm intrigued. And reading here, it is going to come with 1,000 variant covers. Just in case you haven't got your fix of variant covers lately. Tyler Kirkham, Ryan Otley, Clay Mann, Dan Panosian. There we go. And you know what? I'm a little more interested in it now, right? The 12-issue series takes place in a future where Earth is a barren wasteland. Post-apocalyptic. I'm in. I don't need nothing else, right? So we'll see. The last thing, right, that I thought was pretty interesting. DC announces Superstars with Jason Aaron and more. Now, this is intriguing. He's not going to be on it for long, okay? It's, apparently going to be more anthology-type style. A couple things here, a couple story arcs here, a couple there. I don't believe he's even going to be on it very long. From, what is that, 3 issues? 61, 62, 63. I don't know. Jason Aaron has always been one of those writers where I've enjoyed a lot of some things, and then like we get to the end, and it's like, okay, not real, not really enjoying this. It was like in his recent Avengers run where we were having like, oh man, it was so damn good, really good. And then we got to like the Phoenix Force arc or whatever you want to call it, and all of a sudden Echo wins the tournament. Like really, Echo is gonna win against those folks. Get out of here and get the Phoenix Force. Silly. But I digress. And then like his Thor run, phenomenal. And then he just kind of did that. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a dog in the fight. Not a huge fan of Superman comics. Not read a ton of them, but there's never really been a reason for me to be interested in reading them. Like DC's never, or at least historically, recently, hasn't really given me a reason to be like, hey, you should read Superman. And to be honest with you guys, talking to people at the comic shops, things like that, I don't know many people who do read Superman. But I would love to be able to dig in a little bit deeper, right? I mean, so when I'm doing Marvel, reading through all of the great things, I'm finally almost done with Fantastic Four. It's only taken a little over a year, right? But I would love to dig in at some point to, some of the DC greats, man. But Superman just has never been one that's really given you that reason, I feel like. Unless it's an Elseworld story or, yeah, basically just Elseworld stories. Or even like the Batman Superman recent run with like Mark Waid has been good. But like the standalone titles, what are the great reads? You guys let me know. Guys, you're the best part of Two Brothers Comics. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it out. And as always, collect your way.